Hello, listeners. Jordan here. I just want to let you know that you can listen to Nighttime early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Handsome Aaron Airport. I'm happy to be here with you for another week of Keeping Canada Weird. Right off the bat, I want to tell you I am double fisting tonight. I have a tea and I have a kombucha for when my tea runs out. And the reason I have two drinks is because this is a big episode. We got a lot to get to. I think we're going to be sitting here for a while. What do you got in your cup?
I have to be honest, I have the same as last week, a Fresca, unfortunately, but it's delicious, so I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that you got something that's delicious to power you through this long night of keeping Canada weird. We got a whole lot to get to, but before we get into it, let's just kind of talk a little bit personal stuff. Anything going on in your life or in your world? Anything you want to tell us about?
Personal things? That's too personal a question
not necessarily,
to ask me.
Yeah, not necessarily personal about you specifically, but just like things involving interests that are personal and close to you. Like, just it doesn't have to be something related to weird Canadian news. Just how's Aaron?
Again, I feel like you're getting too personal with this question. The more you unwrap it, the more personal it gets.
Any like health stuff? Anything with your family?
No, I don't want to tell you anything about my family. Again, that's way too personal. You and I are strictly colleagues.
Okay, that's right. We work together.
I want to keep this 100% professional. I don't want to know about your dumb kids. I don't want to know about your... Nothing in your life interests me at all.
Okay. Well, I will tell you a little something about my life. I'm kind of mourning this week because, as you know, I'm a huge fan of film director and writer and artist David Lynch. He passed away this week at 78 years old. It's kind of rocked me. Like when your like idol passes away, you take a hit. I felt it this week with David Lynch. For anyone who doesn't know him, he wrote and directed a lot of the TV show Twin Peaks, some great movies like Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart, Mulholland Drive, Eraserhead. A lot of people would know Elephant Man. He passed this week. I want to give a tip of the hat to David Lynch.
I certainly am sorry for your loss, and I appreciate you opening up your heart to me and the listeners here about your respect and admiration for Mr. Lynch.
I'm happy to do it. Have you ever watched his stuff? I know, like you're a film guy. Have you ever watched any David Lynch?
You know, when I thought about it, when you were kind of listing off, I've seen some of those films, but I haven't really, like, I wouldn't put myself down as someone who followed David Lynch,
okay.
I guess.
Well, the reason I bring it up is this is a good kind of like jump off point for a lot of people. If people out there who haven't seen his stuff, if you're into like the absurd and bizarre, he's like the king of it. So maybe it's something to read about on Wikipedia and pick out a cool movie to watch this weekend and freak out your movie watching partner. But we have a mission here to keep it positive. So I'm going to play a voicemail that'll pick up the vibe here. We got a message from Anna in the United States. We ask international listeners to provide us some insight on why they listen to a show covering weird Canadian news. Anna wanted to let us know why she listens.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. This is Anna from Kansas City, Missouri, the good old Midwest in the States. I just want to say how much I love listening to the Nighttime Podcast. You guys do an awesome job with your salty and sweet personalities. I just love to hear all the different things that Canada has going on compared to how weird and freaky the States are. Just keep on keeping on. Thanks. Bye.
America sure does keep it weird, but it is certainly a different flavor of weird than we intend to keep it here in Canada. But Anna, we are happy to have you joining us, but especially tonight for a special evening of Keeping Canada Weird. We got a whole lot of great stuff to get into. I'm just going to tease a little bit of it here because I'm excited to get into this. We're going to have a civil case regarding an office lotto pool. We're going to hear the story of the Newfoundland backhoe bandits. We're going to talk about two separate consumer complaints. One's going to involve a former RCMP superintendent who wanted his money back from a Halifax spa who failed to get rid of his love handles. And we're going to have an exclusive interview with Javeria. She's the young woman in Ontario who became a viral star after breaking her jaw eating a jawbreaker. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, yeah. I hope our jaws don't break in excitement over the stories this week.
I don't think they will. But, we went from dark with the death of David Lynch, positive with the lovely voice message from Anna. Let's get dark again. Something else died this week, and I think I may have predicted it. Let me just ask, though, Aaron, are you a fan of cherry blossoms? Did you ever eat the chocolate weird thing called a cherry blossom?
Yeah, when I was younger, I would eat them because my mom would buy them every now and then.
Okay.
And I would have a bite of hers, or it wasn't my go-to. I can tell you that much.
Sir, I don't know if it's anyone's go-to. I'm going to play the news clip and tell you why we're talking about cherry blossoms, but ultimately Canada is bidding farewell to this divisive treat that's been sparking debates for generations. Here's the brief story of the death of the cherry blossom.
Love it or hate it, this chocolate is being discontinued. Hershey is stopping its production on the cherry blossom candies.
Everybody remembers it. I liked it at the time.
I don't remember liking it.
I'm old, of course I know about this. Disgusting.
Cherry blossom.
While the chocolates and the jingle bring back memories for some, one professor says Canadians have a love-hate relationship with the candies, and the treat just didn't keep up with the times.
Consumers are demanding products that provide a wow experience, if you will. They're looking for these things that surprise them and take them somewhere else. And I'm not sure that the folks at Cherry Blossom have managed to sort of find the winning formula to re-engineer the product. And so with possibly dwindling sales, retailers are not keen on providing top shelf space.
With the chocolates being discontinued, some are running to buy what's still left on the shelves, or hoping that they will make a return one day. So it's been a while since I've tried this chocolate. I don't remember what it tastes like, so I'm gonna do it right now. I don't like this. It's not good.
If there was any hope of saving cherry blossoms, I think the CBC guys' review isn't going to help.
Yeah. I'm surprised that it was still on the shelves. It was every now and then I would notice it because it kind of blends into the background a bit. You're so used to seeing it that you forget it's there for years. And then it dawns on you like, oh yeah, cherry blossoms. I've never seen in probably 25 years anybody ever eat a cherry blossom.
It's funny that you say that. I want to play you another video here. When I introduced the cherry blossom story, I said I may have predicted this. I actually made a video on that I posted on like my Facebook and stuff a couple months back, talking about the cherry blossoms and saying like, why are they still available? Who even eats these things? I'll play you my video. And you tell me if I predicted the death of the cherry blossoms. Quick question for you. Since I was a kid, different candies and chips and treats and pops have come and gone, but there's been one consistent, one food that has always been available with the same packaging, and I've never seen anyone eat it or ever heard anyone talk about it. What's up with this? Excuse me, young kid, what do you think this looks like?
Chocolate with like a gooey inside.
Excuse me, young kid, what do you think this looks like?
Garbage.
Looks like a brain, no.
Excuse me, young lady, do you think you'd eat that?
That's not my forte.
No one eats this. Why is it still for sale? That was some guest appearances by random kids who were shopping for candy at Dollarama as a grown man was filming a video in selfie style.
Yeah, and then the police showed up.
For people who don't know what a cherry blossom is and why we care, it's like a cherry with a bunch of syrup inside, almost like a ball of chocolate. It's very awkward and messy to eat, but I think what's unique and the reason they stand out is the packaging has been the exact same since I was a kid, and I think it's been the same since like my parents were kids. It is this very dated thing. I've never heard of anyone eating one. Yet whenever you go to a gas station or anywhere that sells candy, there's, a box of cherry blossoms. It always surprised me they still made these things. I guess it's coming to an end now, and people are hoarding them thinking they're going to make money.
I think the market for cherry blossoms lied primarily in the elderly. And I think that they eventually died, and now nobody's buying the cherry blossom.
I think that's it. Like every obituary that was printed in a newspaper listed 6 less cherry blossom eaters.
I think that's what was happening. So they knew, with this older dying generation that is on its way to cherry blossom heaven, basically we're left with no one to buy the cherry blossoms, and then off the shelves they go, and we've reached a point of no return with these cherry blossoms. So I wish them a good life in the chocolate afterlife, and I hope that God doesn't get his fingers too messy with pink goo when he eats his cherry blossoms now.
This is a dark start. We got a lot of death and dying in the intro to Keep Canada Weird. This has never happened before. We got to hit reset on the show. Let's take a quick ad break. When we get back, we're going to get into the story of a lotto dispute in British Columbia that ended up in court. We'll be right back with that. Handsome Aaron Airport, winning the lottery is supposed to bring happiness, joy, and new opportunities. But for Mandeep Singh Man of BC, his $2 million BC 49 jackpot instead led to the loss of some friends and a legal battle with members of his work lottery pool. Here's the story of the BC lotto dispute that ended up in court.
Mandeep Man hit it big in August of 2022, winning $2 million in a BC 49 draw.
When I seen 2 million, I couldn't believe it for the first minute or so, right?
When the trucker's co-workers found out about his win, he says they were thrilled, but happiness soon turned to suspicion.
After a few days or so, they start backing off, and I didn't know that they are going to sue me.
4 of Man's colleagues took him to court, alleging they regularly bought lottery tickets together. They claimed Man used the group's money to buy the winning ticket, and they were owed a share of the money. But a judge has now dismissed the claim, saying there's no evidence the ticket was purchased on the group's behalf. Man says the lottery pool was informal, and whenever it was his turn to buy tickets, he'd send photos of them to his coworkers. The BC Lottery Corporation recommends groups have an initial discussion to set rules like how often tickets will be purchased and what happens if a draw is missed.
We also recommend that you assign a group captain. So that would be the person who's responsible for buying the tickets and kind of sharing updates with everyone accordingly.
Man says the 2-year legal battle doesn't affect his love for the lottery.
Without you try your luck, you won't win anything.
He's excited to finally celebrate the win with his family.
So I think a lot of offices and businesses do those kind of like a lottery pool or something similar. Like that's not uncommon. And I think we may have even talked about a similar kind of dispute in the past on this show. But the way the lotto company suggests handling it sounds so little fun. If you're going to start a work lottery pool, one of the first things you should do is assign a team captain. Could you it's this when you come up with these lotto pools with the people who sit next to you at work, you do not expect to eventually end up in court fighting for it as this did.
Well, when I worked at the accounting firm, we had a work lotto, and we didn't call them team captains, but we would have one person who would be designated as the lottery buyer and collector of the money. But what we did to circumvent these issues that these individuals ran into was we had an online account. So we were able to fund that account online and purchase our tickets through that account online. So anything that was bought through that account online was for work. So anything that you bought personally, you bought with your own money, outside of that account.
Okay, yeah.
So
that's a great idea, and that would solve the problem. Because in this case, I'm going to walk through the timeline of what happened, because the article that we just listened to just kind of breezed over it. But ultimately, the week of August 12th to 15th of 2022, the coworkers alleged that they gave cash to Mr. Mann, and he agreed that he would buy the tickets for the next draw. That's according to their complaint that was heard in court. He denied that. He said that that didn't happen. But regardless, their complaint is they gave him the money on the 12th to the 15th, sometime in that period. On August 18th, so just a week later, he bought a ticket himself with his own money. Shortly after, realized he won $2 million, the jackpot or whatever, $2 million bucks. He decided not to tell anybody. 4 days after that, the BC Lottery Corporation took photos of him like receiving the big check, and they posted it to their Facebook page. His friends at work didn't know he won the lotto until they were scrolling through Facebook and saw photos of him. And that is at the point where they're initially like, "Oh, congrats, man." But then they started to be kind of cold and not talking to him as much and keeping a distance from him. Several weeks after that, I think like another 2 weeks later, is when they actually filed a lawsuit against him, which the article tells us he was successful. And ultimately, his success came from the fact that they didn't have evidence to support giving him money, because I think it was said to be cash. There was nothing written. It was just kind of their word against his, and ultimately he won.
There would only be, to avoid it, the only way would be to have some kind of an agreement up saying that you're not allowed to buy, while we're doing this group lotto initiative, you're not allowed to buy tickets outside on your own.
An exclusivity clause.
Yeah, because there would be too much controversy over if you were to win in this situation, is what happened.
Yeah, what would have been a really interesting conversation is between the other members of this lottery pool when they realize he won from this Facebook photo, and they all kind of talk like, is this us? Like, what do we do here? Like, that's very awkward for everybody. And I think if he was in this lotto pool that was regularly buying lotto tickets, it's he kind of set himself up for a dispute by playing outside of the club, so to speak.
Right. So imagine we did a Keep Canada Weird lotto purchase, you and I. So every week you and I put in money to buy lottery tickets and hopefully win the big one.
I hope you're not pitching a new segment where we check our lotto numbers.
It's not a bad idea, actually. Or we have listeners call in with their lotto numbers and we'll check them for them. Just like when you're at a convenience store and somebody's standing in front of you.
We give you the podcast version
to check the tickets.
Each voicemail will be someone giving their numbers, and we'll check it and play the next voicemail.
And then we'll be like, you won $2. Yeah, that's what we'll do. But you and I can put into a lotto pool. And what would happen though if I purchased a ticket on my own outside of our Keep Canada Weird lotto pool, and then I won $10 million? Would you question me on it?
Oh man.
Honestly.
Yes, I would. I would.
Really? Yes. Okay.
And I'm not saying this to be like a good guy on air. If that was something we were doing, if you and I were doing a lotto ticket together and I for whatever reason decided to buy one separately and won it, I would be like, I have to split it with Aaron. We have a thing like I could argue this and go to court against Aaron, but it's like, I'm just going to split it with him. I would split it with you.
So you would offer it up to me.
Yeah.
Like if you won, you would offer up half of your winnings to me, because even though you purchased that ticket outside of our lotto pool,
I think I don't know if I'd split. I would talk to you about it, and I would be like, I would come up with something, but I would settle on splitting it if we had to. Think of it this way. Here's a different way to think about it. Imagine you and I both went to Tim Hortons and forget all the complaints we have about Tim Hortons. This is just an example. We go to Tim Hortons during Roll Up the Rim. We both buy a coffee, and afterwards we roll up our rims, and you roll up yours and it says, please play again. I roll up mine and it says you win $1 million. Would it be fair for me to be like, sweet, I just won $1 million. Can I get a ride home, Aaron? Like, I feel like I would, even in that situation, I'd feel like I'd be giving you a significant portion of it. if not half.
Significant though? Like how?
Well, I'd be like,
how much is enough to give?
My first offer would be $200,000.
If you won $1 million.
Yeah, and I'd look you in the eyes, and I would look to see anger or pain.
So this is $200,000 for me to keep my mouth shut. Is that what it is?
It's a test. The 200,000.
It's
to see like,
okay.
Does Aaron look happy? Is he a little upset with me? And if I notice like a tear,
how's this registering?
If I noticed a tear forming, I'd be like, "Did I say 200? I meant 350,000. What am I saying?"
Yeah,
for you. And I go,
huh? It's interesting. It's interesting.
What would you do? We were out together, and you win $1 million, and I lose.
So we're just there together?
Yeah, sitting down, having a coffee.
Because what I would think would be interesting is say you and I went to go for a coffee at Well, no, we can't. We have to use Tim's because of their dumb roll up the rim to win contest, which isn't even a roll up the rim anymore.
This situation's in the 90s.
Just uttering their stupidity from my mouth just makes me mad. But anyway, for the sake of this extended bit that you and I are doing right now, imagine you and I go to a Tim Hortons, and this is 1997, where you can still roll up the goddamn rim, and we go into the restaurant, and you're like, "I'm going to buy you a coffee, buddy.
Okay.
Because you're my buddy and my friend, and we love each other." And you buy me a coffee, and you buy yourself a coffee, of course, because we're there having coffee together as friends. And then we sit down. And it's the 90s. We smoke cigarettes because you can smoke in Tim Hortons then. Remember that?
We don't even know it's bad for you.
We both finish our coffees, and then, oh, God, we forgot to roll up the rim. So then you and I roll up the rim. I won, but just say for this example, $1 million.
Okay. And I bought you the coffee?
You bought me the coffee. Now, here's the question. Of course I'm going to give you some, right?
I think in that situation, it's a split.
Exactly. That's what I was going to ask. How much do you think is appropriate for me to give you of my $1 million?
I'd say we split it. So we split it, and I
think that's fair. Yeah, split it is fair. Yeah.
Here's the thing. In this case, they're not like lifelong friends like we are. It's Mr. Mann and his coworkers. So maybe it's a little bit different of a scenario. But what I find most surprising about this entire story of the BC lottery dispute, it didn't mention it in the article. We haven't mentioned it yet. But he didn't quit his job. He still works there. That must be so awkward.
Wild, yeah. Not only you would think, okay, you're a millionaire, maybe you can quit your job. No, I'm keeping my job, and I'm keeping my job where I work with the people who think that I screwed them over with their lottery winnings.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I can imagine is it's him trolling them. He shows up in his Tesla Cybertruck. He walks in like and doesn't do any work. He's like, "What are you going to do? Fire him? I'm a millionaire. I couldn't care less. But I'm in the union, so you can't touch me. And I'm going to sit here with."
The only thing is, $2 million is not what it used to be. It still sounds like a lot, but if you're in your 30s, $2 million is not job quitting money anymore.
Yeah, that's tickets to the Eras tour.
Yeah. And so $2 million is like, okay, I'll probably be able to retire when I'm 60.
Yeah. Let's move on, though, to stories of other people trying to put an end to something in their life, but not doing it by way of lottery tickets, doing it with a life of crime in a pure Newfoundland, in a way that would only be possible in Newfoundland, it seems. This story came to us from listeners. Two separate emails I got, one from a listener named Kristen and one from a correspondent named Victoria. This is the story of the Newfoundland backhoe bandits.
The scars from this brazen bank break-in are best seen from the sky. And if you zoom out, way out, the excavator police alleged was used to extract an ATM sometime before 4 this morning lays just next door at a construction site.
There's no doubt crime is on the increase.
Mount Pearl's mayor says this is the second time heavy equipment has shredded a bank in his city on the same street since September, making him feel less safe.
I think this is just indicative of how things have gotten out of hand.
This is the third in a string of ATM robberies across eastern Newfoundland in less than a month. Last week, one was stolen from this Scotiabank in Carbonear, about 100 kilometers from St. John's. The excavator left at the scene of the crime. In mid-December, another bank bashed, ATM stolen in Holyrood. But in this case, the RCMP arrested 3 people and charged 1. In the meantime, the thefts have police urging people to lock up heavy equipment.
If there's some way to prevent access to the vehicle and make it, certainly at least challenging for somebody who does not own it or regularly operate it to take control of that vehicle.
Police say they're still looking into this latest ATM theft and haven't made any arrests.
Using an excavator to tear through a bank is pretty brazen. To do it 3 times within a month in the same area is something altogether. But what I thought when I first heard this story is I thought they were like, these criminals were bringing the heavy equipment to the site, bashing into a bank, taking the ATM and the heavy equipment and fleeing. But I think in every one of these cases, it's just been the heavy equipment has been in the nearby proximity to the bank, and they jump in it, and I don't know if it's hot wire it or just turn it on, do the deed and flee with the ATM, which is kind of wild that someone would think of that. But I went a step further and did a bit more reading, and I guess heavy equipment like excavators and backhoes and stuff, they're very easy to start. Like there's like a master key kind of thing that you can use. So maybe that's a part of the problem. But are you surprised to hear this?
Yeah, well, the key situation is that the same model excavator or whatever piece of heavy equipment you're talking about, that key will work for all of the other or a lot of the other brands of heavy machinery. So it's not like you have just one key for that one. That key would work for any excavator of that brand that you stumble across.
That's weird though, because
and that's crazy to me.
That wouldn't be the case for a car, and in an excavator or a backhoe or whatever, it'd be more expensive than a car.
And more dangerous too, as we're seeing in this situation.
But I wonder if a part of it is let's say if you manage a construction company, you'd have so many different like excavators and backhoes and all this stuff. Maybe it's to simplify, having a bunch of them on a job site so workers can just jump in and out of them as need be. But that seems like a heavy price to pay for that small inconvenience. With steel, to use it to steal ATMs also seems a bit like overkill. Like I've heard stories of someone just putting chains around the ATM, hooking it up to your truck and pulling it out of the building like that. Like you've seen things like that. But to use an excavator and tear the side off a building, and that's what for people listening to this, the after effects of this crime is a bank with a whole 20% of the building is rubble. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, they're really destroying the buildings doing this. They're leveling these parts of these buildings. It's shocking to see.
Is this a uniquely Newfoundland crime? Meaning, is this something where you don't know the story? And I say, Aaron, in some part of Canada, there has been 3 instances of people using excavators and backhoes to bulldoze banks and take the ATMs. Where would you guess? Which Canadian?
Well, Newfoundland would be on my list of targets for sure.
I feel like this is a Western Canada crime, actually.
But that's where my mind will go to with it is Western Canada.
And maybe,
but I would throw out Newfoundland too. But I don't know. I mean, it's crazy for sure, but it makes sense too. At the same time, these things are just lying around. These keys are easily obtainable. Anybody can get one key and it'll work for any of those particular brands of heavy machinery. So
that seems like the Achilles heel in this
makes
whole
complete
thing.
sense. Yeah.
They can do damage. And then on top of the fact that they could do significant damage, you often see them parked overnight alone at job sites with little to no supervision. So, you would think that it'd be set up in a way that couldn't happen. Like I just think near my house, there's a Walmart and a movie theater and all this stuff. During the wintertime, there's often like an excavator or a backhoe just parked there, overnight. And when there's a snowstorm, I guess someone gets in it and clears the snow. But I'm wondering if I should maybe try a new career.
As a thief?
As a backhoe bandit. Yeah.
As a backhoe bandit. Jordan Backhoe Bonaparte. That's your new name.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
You know, well, you didn't like Bus Stop at first either.
I liked it until
You
someone
warmed up to
until
it. So Jordan,
I warmed up to
backhoe,
it.
Bonaparte.
Yeah, I warmed up to it, but then a listener pointed out that a bus stop is just kind of like the lower budget version of an airport.
Yeah, it's a dirty place where people pee and put cigarette butts out at and harass each other at.
Yeah.
Yeah. But backhoe is not a place like that.
You're right.
It's a wealth generating machine.
It seems muddy
that smashes buildings and takes money out. That's a very prideful name to have.
Okay.
Jordan Backhoe Bonaparte.
Okay. Well, let's take a quick break here. This is a good time for this because when we get back after our ad break, we have two incredible stories of consumer complaints. And these are special ones. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Aaron, it's been a while since we got into consumer complaints, but it's been something I've been passionate about, and I know the listeners of the Keep Canada Weird podcast are passionate about it as well, because I've heard from many Canadians with consumer complaints.
Many complainers you've heard from, is that
Yeah,
what you're
just the complaining into the void that is my email account.
saying? into the void of your careless heart.
But you know what I don't often get is people contacting the show not to lodge their own consumer complaint, but to tell me about other people's consumer complaints. And the one I got, this maybe about a week and a half ago, I got an email from a correspondent to Keep Canada Weird. Her name was Jessica. And she told me about a woman who's gone viral due to, I guess it's a consumer complaint. Did you hear the story about the young woman out of Ontario who broke her jaw eating a jawbreaker?
I haven't heard about this, no.
Do you think it's possible?
Well, I mean, it's called Jawbreaker, so I mean, why would they lie about that?
Well, you would think it would be impossible if they called it Jawbreaker. That's what I was thinking.
I assume, yeah, liability reasons.
Yeah,
You wouldn't want to call a gun a killing machine.
Yeah, or a tires like our slippery crashers. It just seems like
slippery crashers.
Yeah, it's just a bad idea. But regardless, I will tell you right now, after searching words like jawbreaker or jawbreaker girl, or maybe even the word jaw at this point, it's going to lead you all back to the same place. Javeria is a young woman out of, I believe, the Toronto area that broke her jaw after eating a jawbreaker. She's been telling the story on TikTok and it has blown up. She is the closest thing to a broken jaw celebrity we will ever meet. I reached out to her to ask if she was willing to share her consumer complaint here on the Keep Canada Weird podcast. She agreed to do it. You want to meet her?
Absolutely, I do.
Let me call her up. One sec. I'll see if she'll talk to you. I don't know.
If she doesn't, I can pretend to be her.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey. Happy to have you on the show.
I'm happy to be here.
Are you healing up?
Yeah, it's been 1 month tomorrow of having my jaw unwired. So yeah.
Unwired. Wow. 1 month of jaw freedom. Before we get into your story and what's going on, tell us a bit about you.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a 19-year-old student at York University Schulich School of Business in Toronto. And I love just normal teenage girl things, going out with my friends. I love cars. I love cooking. And as you guys know, I broke my jaw on a jawbreaker.
And in my research, I couldn't find other examples of this having happened to someone.
No, I've never heard of this ever happening ever in the history of mankind. Can you walk us through kind of what happened that day? Like what were the events that led to the jaw being shattered?
And why would you even buy a jawbreaker? Because I think they're the worst candy, tied maybe with cherry blossoms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, jawbreakers do not really taste that good. I had just bought it from a store with my friend, and we were just seeing, okay, do you think I could bite into this? Because usually you're supposed to lick the jawbreaker to get to the center, but that can take weeks or months. And the story is pretty simple. I was trying to bite down as hard as I can. I was not trying to break my jaw. I wasn't trying to see if my jaw would break. I was trying to see if the candy would break. Okay? So yeah, and I bit down pretty hard, and it ended up breaking, not in half as I wanted it to. It just had a little dent in it.
And how big was this jawbreaker? Because there's some that are the size of let's say a quarter, but then there's also the big ones that fit almost in your fist. Oh, you're holding a jawbreaker.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you're talking about one of the big guys.
Yes, it was about 3 inches.
Looks
in
close to a
diameter, I'm pretty sure.
baseball as opposed to a golf ball, that size. And
Yeah.
where are you when you're biting it?
Right here in my university dorm.
Oh my God. Okay. So you bite it, you are able to leave a dent, and that's not enough for you. So what compels you to like, I'm gonna bite harder?
No, that's what happened when I bit into it and I caused it to have a dent. I had no idea my jaw was broken. One of my teeth is chipped, and then another tooth at the bottom was wiggly. And so I was in a lot of pain, yeah, but I couldn't open my mouth that wide. But I thought the pain was from my tooth. We ended up going to the hospital.
Okay. And you thought, I probably hurt my tooth, and because of that, my jaw's sore because the nerves are all connected or whatever. Like that's where my mind would probably have gone.
Exactly.
Okay, so you go to the hospital.
And I take a CT scan, and the doctor comes in. He's like, "Yeah, your jaw is broken, and you have to be wired shut for 6 weeks." And I was in so much shock. The friend I was with, like, literally threw up. My dad was crying. It was
Wow.
It was insane.
Okay, yeah, being 19 and having your jaw wired for 6 weeks, and this would have went over the break, the holiday break for your school. I'm assuming this would have been a time where you had a bunch of plans.
No, this happened during finals season.
Oh.
Okay. So now I want to get to the next part of this story. So if breaking your jaw, eating a jawbreaker isn't unique enough, in your case, I don't know what I'm about to play a part of one of your videos that you posted online. I don't know if this is the first one, but this is the one I'll air because it really gives a good sense of the content you've been posting. But you've become something close to like a broken jaw celebrity influencer. I'm going to play one of your videos, and then I want to get into what led you to, go public like this with it. Here's the video.
Has anyone else ever wondered if a jawbreaker can actually break your jaw?
Because I wondered. Spoiler alert, it can and it did.
I ended up with 2 fractures in my jaw.
And I chipped my tooth. This is the most I could open my mouth. My jaw is now wired for a month and a half, and I can't eat anything. Well, at least we have the answer now. We don't call it jawbreaker for no reason.
So you post that or videos like that. I don't think that's your first video on the topic, was it? No. But regardless, you post videos about it. What compels you to do that, to go public with it in the kind of lighthearted, fun way that you did? Why did you do that? And when did you realize that, whoa, like, millions of people are watching these videos?
When my jaw broke, I was pretty sad. I couldn't eat. I was low energy. It kind of felt like my whole life was over. I started posting 3 weeks into the 6 weeks that my jaw was wired shut. And the reason I wanted to start posting was because I see a lot of people on TikTok post like weird injuries. People on TikTok love seeing like, whoa, like that's crazy. How did that happen? Weird injuries. And people love seeing things that are like, oh my God, I'm so glad that that's not me, So that's what when I figured that, I was like, I think this would be a pretty interesting story to share. I've also, I'm in business school. I've also been really interested in entrepreneurship, and I thought having a social media platform would be a good start. And I thought this would be a great place to start.
Yeah,
so,
I guess like everyone has something. It's just I broke my jaw with a jawbreaker. It's such a unique thing. I don't think there's anything else like that, quite like that. I believe you're the only broken jaw celebrity. And what's the response like? So what do you hear from people?
I posted my videos, and in just 2 days, I was at like 7 million views. I had gained a lot of followers. I did not expect people to be that interested in it. The response was really mixed. A lot of people were like, "Wow, like I feel so bad. I could never do that," And then news articles started posting about it as well, and I would read the comments on the news articles, and it'd be like, "The girl is so dumb. I don't know why she would do that." It's literally in the name. There were definitely people who were like, "Oh, you're faking it." Yeah, I don't know. The response was really mixed.
Actually, I solicited voicemails from the audience. I let people know that we were going to be talking to a woman who broke her jaw eating a jawbreaker tonight. I did get a voicemail, and it's I'm going to play it for you here. It's a unique one because it comes from not just a regular listener. It comes from a close friend of the show who actually shared the first consumer complaint on the show maybe a month or 2 back. This is our friend Randy, or he had some questions for you.
Hey, Javeria, JBG. This is Randy Stonewall, the original Keep Canada Weird consumer complainer. Wanted to ask, have you reached out to the folks at Jawbreaker? Have they reached out to you? Any kind of compensation coming your way for your troubles. And also, when you do get to eat solid foods again, what will be your first meal back? Or if you've already come back, what was your first meal back? Hope all is well. And yeah, from one Torontonian to another, I wish you all the best.
He referred to you as Javeria, and then he said JBG. Did you know what that was?
Yeah, jawbreaker girl.
Is that your nickname?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I heard that. I'm like, oh, I hope this isn't something terrible.
Yeah, I was concerned about it when I first heard it.
So his questions were, have you heard from Jawbreaker? First thing is, I don't think Jawbreaker is a company. That's like, have you heard from Candy Bar about the food poisoning? Have you heard about Restaurant? And I'll pretend Aaron didn't answer it. I'll fix that up. But have you heard from like the company who makes these, the manufacturer, the store you bought it from, or is that even on your mind?
I have not heard from Jawbreaker at all. I did talk to a lawyer, and they said the process would take about it would take over a year to sue and stuff. So I don't know if I want to do that right now. Maybe down the line. I'm not even sure if I would be able to sue. I don't know how that's gonna work. But yeah, I'm in college right now. I'm really busy with school, so I don't know if I'd be.
You don't have
I don't wanna get
you don't have
legal.
time to sue a company.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm just thinking though, like the trial would be amazing because it would be their defense would be like, we literally call the thing Jawbreaker. She should have known. And your defense and your offense could be like, they wouldn't be foolish enough to call the thing that can break my jaw a Jawbreaker. I thought they were joking. It's candy. It would be an amazing trial. But regardless, maybe we can hire or Aaron, maybe you can write up a script and we could perform a play of this trial. I could play Javeria. You could play the lawyer. But what about the second question? Is Randy's other question is, when you can eat solid foods, what will be your first food? Are you eating solids yet?
Yeah, I've been unwired for a month now.
Okay, so you're over soups and like mashed potatoes or something.
Way over.
What was the first food back?
Actually, my doctor advised me not to eat anything that I have to chew. So things like mashed potatoes or mac and cheese. And even if I was eating mac and cheese, don't chew it. He said to push it against the roof of your mouth with your tongue to break it down.
Oh, it takes the fun out of eating, doesn't it?
Yeah, come on, doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad.
But I did not listen to my doctor. The first meal I got was McDonald's.
Okay, that's good.
I got a cheeseburger, I got chicken nuggets and fries. I really could not open my mouth that wide, but I shoved it in there. I got in there somehow.
Last question for you. Becoming a viral star and getting all this attention, what's it been like? What's been the worst parts, the downside? What's been fun? I'm only assuming when you open your DMs, you have very interesting stuff in there.
I do. It's a mix of a lot of things. Definitely a lot of people obviously saying, they feel bad for me and I'm handling it so well. I've had a lot of people actually saying that they also had jaw surgery and they're saying, oh, your videos really helped me out a lot. And that's really sweet. I love seeing that.
Okay. And then other people are like, F you, die.
I hate you so much for no reason.
I've definitely gotten the hate messages as well. Yeah. People come up to me in public and on the streets of Toronto, they see me and they're like, oh my God, you're the Jawbreaker girl. You're the Through the Wire girl. That's a Kanye West song. He broke his jaw as well. People.
Oh, he did. That's right. Yeah. That's what they say contributes to his unique sound is his broken jaw.
Kanye fans love me. I love the Kanye fans.
But how did he do it though? It wasn't a Jawbreaker. That's like.
Oh no, he was in a car accident.
I imagined it was somebody just punching him in the face.
Repeatedly. Regardless, Kanye doesn't hold a candle to you. Breaking your jaw with a Jawbreaker, it's like, it sucks that it happened and what a brutal thing to go through, but what a great story to tell. It's pretty fascinating. That's a very unique way to keep Canada weird, and that's something we celebrate on the show is unique and unusual stories and unique and unusual Canadian events and people, and you're kind of mixed in all of it. So a tip of the hat to you, Javeria.
Thank you.
I do have a quick story from my childhood about a broken jaw.
Yes.
Oh.
It's about a jaw that was wired shut. This girl that I went to school with, she had gotten a lot of dental work over the years, like a lot of braces, a lot of different headgear and stuff. She always had something going on. And at one point in time in the process, she had to get her jaw wired shut. and it was wired shut for several weeks or whatever. And we used to play this game called soccer baseball. So that's basically baseball except with a soccer ball, and you kick it instead of having a bat. And she wanted to play soccer baseball one day. Everybody was warning her, don't do it. Don't do it. Your jaw is broken. It's wired shut. Don't play soccer baseball. She says, oh, I'm going to play it. And then she goes out onto the field, and then somebody kicks the ball after there's pitched to them, and it smashes her right in the face.
Oh, breaks her
First
jaw.
thing right off the bat with her wired shut jaw. She gets smashed in the face with a soccer ball.
Javeria, we appreciate this so much. And for people who are listening, how do they find your videos of this whole charade spectacle tragedy?
Yeah, for sure. My TikTok is Jav Drives, JAV Drives. And then my Instagram is Javeria Wasim with 2 I's, JAVERIA WASIIM.
This has been great. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Take care.
That is quite the story. I feel terrible for her. When I was 19, if I had a broken jaw for a wired shut for like whatever that was, 6 weeks or whatever, I would have been miserable.
Yeah, it's too bad because now not only her trust in Jawbreaker the candy, but all of our trusts in Jawbreakers the candy.
I would say I'll never eat one again, but I never liked those things. It's so much work for such a minuscule reward. Like it's basically just like, it's like the gift cards of candy. It's because like, yeah, it's sugary and it's sweet, but it's so inconvenient to get it into your mouth. Just like a gift card is so inconvenient to use as opposed to cash.
I'd love to meet somebody who licked one down to nothing.
No one has. You lick it until you get bored.
Like who actually licked it down, like not bit into it after it got small enough. Like started licking it and lick by lick, it went down to nothing.
That's like a day's work. And
a day? That's gotta
maybe
be
more.
weeks,
yeah, you'd have to
man.
put it in the fridge each night because the Jawbreaker that's involved in this, the offending Jawbreaker, again, it's like looks like a baseball. Like they shouldn't even sell those things. It is made for breaking people's jaws that will try to crack it.
Yeah. Well, how are these things even real when I think about it?
Well, that's the world we live in now. If someone will buy it, they'll make it, even if it's stupid. And someone will see this giant Jawbreaker and be like, "Oh, that's awesome!" It's only.
But these have been around since the 80s.
We've been
at least.
Yeah. You know what they'd be good for is like if you had a baseball bat and someone threw one and you smacked it with the bat and it would just like explode into like a chalky.
Yeah. Then everybody
dust.
opens their mouth when it explodes.
Just like whoa, and it's in slow mo. It's in your hair.
And everyone's just like, oh.
I'm surprised.
We don't have to lick it down to nothing. We can just chew it this way.
Just breathe it in. I was surprised we phrased that as a consumer complaint, but she didn't seem too upset about the whole thing.
Well, I think time has passed.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
sure if you talk to her day of, she'd be really upset over the 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Enjoy.
But regardless of if she wants to pursue justice, why don't we kind of rule on this tonight? I think you said it well yourself, is like, imagine if they called like guns like killing machines, they would be sued like crazy. I feel like if there was a lawsuit in this case, she would win it. And I feel like the manufacturer of this item, I guarantee this Jawbreaker was just in like a bowl at a candy store for $1.
Yeah.
It's not like there was this warning on it. Like it's called a Jawbreaker, but it will actually break your jaw.
Do not
like,
bite down on this.
I think she got them if she wants them.
Yeah,
If
because
she
there
wants
is no packaging with Jawbreakers. That's another weird thing about them. That's so kind of gross when you think about it.
Yeah. I think they should just get rid of these things altogether.
Yeah.
You want to move on to one more consumer complaint? This is a good one.
Yeah.
I figure rather than me reading it, why don't you get the newsboy back?
The newsboy?
Yeah, it's been a bit.
I'll have to dust off the newsboy.
It's the headline that the newsboy would be chanting would be something like, former RCMP superintendent sues over love handle treatment.
Yeah, okay. I'll mash something together here. Extra, extra, read all about it. Former RCMP superintendent's love handle lawsuit is successful. Oh boy, everyone's excited.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we
I'll
go.
read it.
I'm going to read
Okay.
it now.
Oh my goodness. The newsboy is weird.
He's getting
I'll read-
older, actually.
Yeah, he has to. If people want the newsboy, but he's like, I'm a kind of a newsman, but he has to play the part. Or no
Who's
one will-
old man now? My back is killing me. I'm holding up all these newspapers.
I'll read the article. A Nova Scotia.
Okay, I'm
This is enough of the
sorry.
newsboy.
Yeah, go
I'll
ahead.
never
Yeah,
ask
he's
for him
dead.
again.
He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. Not to bring it back to death again, but you've killed the newsboy.
Okay, good. A Nova Scotia small claims court has awarded former RCMP Superintendent Martin Murrin $3,622 after a Halifax spa failed to deliver on its promise to visibly reduce his persistent love handles through a body contouring treatment. Marin, a physically fit man, had long struggled with love handles, which is stubborn fat deposits that extend outward from one's hips. And that was despite his regular exercise and his active lifestyle. In November of 2023, he purchased 6 M-Sculpt Neo sessions from Bodyworks Med Spa in Halifax. The spa promised free retreatment if no visible results were achieved within 3 months, provided that clients adhere to their recommendations. Marin began treatments in January of 2024, starting with a vest applicator that targeted his abdomen. However, being dissatisfied with the lack of focus on his love handles, he switched to a paddle applicator that clamped directly to the problem area for his remaining sessions. 3 months later, Marin reported no improvement in his love handles, despite the spa's claims of there being a visible difference. The spa argued that Marin's change in applicator location voided their promise to him and made him ineligible for a refund or retreatment. But the courts rejected this, stating it didn't constitute a significant alteration to his treatment plan. The spa also argued that there was a visible difference to his body. The court reviewed evidence of this in the form of before and after photos of Marin's love handles. The court noted that there was slight fading and wrinkle lines above his love handles, but it didn't count as an improvement, as the spa specifically agreed to treat the fat deposits themselves. Marin maintained his weight, he stayed hydrated, and he remained active throughout his treatment, which he felt fulfilled his obligations under their guarantee. The court agreed and ordered the spa to refund the full $3,622 he paid for the sessions. He won. But now, in the news, when you Google his name, you'll find articles about love handles, which I think is a punishment probably more than $3,000.
It's going to follow him to his grave. There'll be love handles on his gravestone.
I think so, but it's. I'm surprised the spa went as far as to challenge this, because it seems like they didn't have a great case. I feel like they sold him a bit of kind of like snake oil treatment that came with a warranty. It's whenever you hear these weird kind of like body sculpting and stuff, I'm like, does that stuff even work? Like, apparently not.
I doubt it. I mean,
but for $3,600, I'd fight for that.
Well, I mean, there's probably plastic surgery would be an option. Don't you think?
Yeah, definitely not for $3,600.
No, but that's a start. It'll get you in the door, and then
for your consultation.
Yeah. You take out a loan and you get rid of the love handles. Some surgeon will do it for you and lop them off, and these love handles will be famous now, so they can sell them. After the
they can auction them off.
Auction them off, yeah. And then the auction boy can be the auctioneer.
Or the newsboy can work as an auctioneer.
No, they're two different boys. There's a newsboy, and he sounds like this: extra, extra, I'm a newsboy. And then there's an auctioneer boy who sounds like this: extra, extra, auctions.
When you start performing different characters, it's time to wrap this up. But I want to wrap it up in an interesting way. You remember, this may have been last week, maybe the week before, I talked about Curl Up and Die, which is the hair salon in Cape Breton. Turns out there's one in Lunenburg as well. 2 of them in Nova Scotia with the same name, oddly. But I talked about how some businesses have kind of like tongue-in-cheek silly names. We got an email or a voicemail from Leon. I may be pronouncing that wrong. She's a correspondent of Keep Canada Weird based in Switzerland. She wants to tell us about a plumbing company in her neck of the woods that has a playful name, but maybe they take it too far. Here it comes.
Hello, beautiful bus stop and handsome airport. Here's your local correspondent from Switzerland, Leonie. And last episode, you asked for tongue-in-cheek businesses in your hometown. So here in Switzerland, we have this sewage cleaning company, and it's called Rohrmax, which basically means pipe max in German. But they have these funny slogans, which are like, I'll always come, or I'll also clean your pipe. Keep your pipe clean. And, everyone here knows what it's about. Kind of latching on that popular porn narrative of handyman goes to someone's house and you know what ends up happening. I still don't know if I think it's kind of gross or is it funny. Let me know what you think. Bye.
Leonie. It's like you need to speak her language, I think, to say her
You
name.
need the accent
Leonie.
in order to pronounce it correctly.
Yeah. Is it gross or is it funny? Those are the two choices.
It's currently funny, but it could lean gross pretty quickly if they're not careful.
Yeah, like in this environment right now, it feels funny, but yeah, I think and then it's plumbing, which is like kind of by its very nature, not a very appealing trade.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. Plumbing is a fine trade.
Yeah, I mean,
you
it's
do
not
get
like
into the dirt a lot with plumbing. It certainly takes you to some places that are not
that aren't nice.
nice places.
There's a lot of like unclogging things that I bet you is very disturbing, whether it's in homes or in restaurants or whatever, like that part of that trade. And when I say unappealing, I didn't mean anything negative against plumbing. I think I would love to know more about plumbing. That's definitely something I don't know much about, but I just more meant it's not like an arousing trade.
An arousing trade.
I don't know if there are.
Is that what someone does when they're looking to go to trade school and they're looking for the most arousing trade on the list? And
what would it be? Cooking,
whichever
maybe.
one, pops the tent. Like, oh, air conditioning and refrigeration. Ooh.
In this case, with it being a plumbing company, having sexual innuendo within their marketing or their brand name and all this stuff, I would not want them coming to my house, especially if I was a woman. It'd be so awkward.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe they're, I don't know. I'd have to see the commercials and I'd really have to see who the plumbers were that actually come to your house.
Mm-hmm.
What if they were
Maybe
female plumbers?
That would be intimidating. I'll clean your pipes. Shows up like
and just starts beating you with a wrench.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it though. It's an interesting story. But most of all, what I liked is hearing that someone is in Switzerland following the show.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear about different locations around the world that are interested in weird Canada.
Yeah. I will say if you have a voicemail aired on the show, you can send an email to nighttimepodcast@gmail.com and give me your mailing address anywhere in the world, even Switzerland, and I will send you a Keep Canada Weird swag pack that includes your correspondent badge that you can use for access to special places, and you may even get some special privileges if you wear it around. I just ask you to wear it proudly but responsibly. So, Leonie, get in touch with me and I'll send a package to Switzerland in a hot pink envelope, and I mean it, because they're the only envelopes I got right now.
Yeah.
But we've been going too long, Aaron. We got to put a bow on this.
Yeah, let's bow it up.
Before we do, though, do you think we should tell people about what we just published to the Keep Canada Weird feed and the Nighttime Podcast Premium feed?
Yes, I think we should. Without further ado, we would like to announce that we received such an overwhelming response for tire stories that we finally recorded a full episode entitled Entirely Tires.
We're talking 40 minutes of tire talk. It's available on the Keep Canada Weird standalone feed, which you can find on any of the podcast apps, and it's available on the Nighttime Podcasts premium feed. Entirely Tires is waiting for you, and the reviews are great. I've heard this is an amazing episode. I also heard things like, what a crazy theme, but it kind of worked. That was a great episode.
Well, that could be, depending on how the tone that you put on that, you're like, yeah, what a crazy theme, but it kind of worked. You know, like that. Maybe
I was happy
a
with
whole
it.
episode of
I was happy
Tires,
with it.
but a lot of listeners listen to Keep Canada Weird on the Nighttime podcast, and they may not know that Keep Canada Weird has its very own podcast feed. So you can go to wherever you get your podcasts. You can search just Keep Canada Weird and you'll find the standalone Keep Canada Weird podcast feed. And that is where you can hear entirely Tires or the Nighttime Podcast Patreon. So go and do that right now.
Well, with all that said, let's put a bow on this. Handsome Aaron Airport, until next time.
Jordan Backhoe Bonaparte, until next time.
If you see a cherry blossom at the store, even if you don't enjoy that food, I'd say just buy one, have it at home, stick it in your fridge, because in maybe even a month or two, it's going to be cool to pull out.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm going to grab some. I'm a hoarder, so I'm going to have a box of cherry blossoms here.
And Jordan, until next time, whether it's a jawbreaker, whether it's a cherry blossom, if all these candies go away, it doesn't matter, because you, Jordan, are the only sweet that I need in my life.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. If you've got a news story from your area that you'd like to share with us, or have any thoughts or theories or opinions on anything we discussed tonight, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact us by using the voice recorder that can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. And on that topic, I want to give a big thank you to this episode's correspondents. If your voice message was aired tonight, you can email me your address. My email is nighttimepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll get a Keep Canada Weird badge and swag pack sent out to you. I just ask that you wear the badge proudly and responsibly. Next, a big thanks goes out to Aaron for another great night, you, Nicole, for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data for the outro version of O Canada. And then, of course, a sincere and massive thank you goes out to each and every one of you listening. Your support makes this show possible. And if you'd like to support the show even more, please consider a subscription to the premium feed, which can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/subscribe. The premium feed costs just a couple dollars a month, but that money will fund the creation of new episodes of the show, and it'll give you those episodes 2 days early, ad-free, and access to a back catalog of episodes. And even if you don't want to go premium, you can still support the show by sharing this episode on social media. That helps a lot too, and it's free. Your support is very much appreciated. So with all that said, until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and together, let's keep Canada weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.